Good evening everyone and welcome to the third round of the F1 Total Esports division here in Saudi Arabia for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. One of the, I would say, most exciting tracks as a commentator at least. It's a driver, a really challenging track, very difficult. So many fast corners, so many places where you can lose the car and just go straight into a wall. Absolutely no runoff zones on what is the fastest street circuit on the Formula 1 calendar. So many blind corners as well. It's a really tricky track for the drivers. And yeah, as you can see, we only have 15 drivers. I don't really know what's happened, why so many teams are missing drivers, but this does mean that Q1 is basically yeah, irrelevant. Everyone goes through into Q2. So pretty much we are just waiting for everyone in Q1 to retire so we can skip into Q2 where the actual action is gonna start happening. So yeah, we're missing, oh well, teams that are missing drivers are Ecos, who are not taking part in this race at all, and then also Team X are down to one driver, as well as PAFR. Oh no, PAFR actually have two drivers. So yeah, and Ecos are not taking part today at all, and then ASE, ERO, and X are each missing one driver, so that's 5 drivers in total missing, means just the 15 today. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, if those guys have forgotten about the race or whatever, but yeah, I suppose it's good news for all the other teams. They have an easier time of getting points in today's race. Some guys are wanting to do a lap in this session before we move on to Q2. But yeah, everybody will go through into Q2. There will be no eliminations in qualifying 1 here. So yeah, the first driver who's going to start a lap here is Alaran Martin in the Red Bull. On the intermediates as well, so yeah, I think we'll be seeing a lot of intermediates here. The only person on softs actually is Wumax. So yeah, he's fully wasting softs, I would say, here. And I guess you can use it as a practice lap, but I would say it's smarter to save this enough tire for Q2, because you're gonna be through anyway. Yeah, like once everyone is retired, we are gonna skip straight into Q2. I hope everybody retires, and I hope they don't make us actually sit here for 15 minutes in a nothing session. But yeah, Ella and Martin, the first one coming around turn 1 and 2 there. Well, going down into the S section. Of course, gonna be a bit slower than usual through here, especially on the intermediate. Needs to be very careful. But just in general, you don't want to crash now. If you crash now, you're still out. So, yeah, I mean, there's no reason to push hard. Any lap, or even no lap, gets you through as long as you still have all 4 tires attached to your car at the end of Q1. You will get to drive in Q2 and, yeah, challenge for a spot in the top 10. Also, of course, after last week's race, CPI have extended their lead in the World Championship. I'll just quickly get those up on my phone. So yeah, CPI are now on 106 points, and the next team is Relentless on 53. So CPI have double the points of second place after just 2 races. So they are having an amazing start to the season. And yeah, of course they'll hope to keep that up over the rest of the season, and if they do, they will certainly be winning the championship. Aston Martin, that must be TGT Alfie, who is spun around the final corner. You would hope he can get this car turned around and just go back to the pits. Danica, the first one over line, 32.8, and then his teammate Martin, 32.3. Wumax will be the next across the line. This should definitely be the fastest time in this session. He's the only one on dry compound tires. So I think anything other than a P1 would be a major disappointment for Wumax. But it doesn't matter, Even if he is last, he will go into Q2. And across the lines at 28.9, of course, it is indeed the fastest time in this session. CPIK here of Igor, just going into the final corner now. Of course, also on the intermediate tires. Fast intermediate time right now is at 32.3 by LRN Martin. And Igor goes the line, puts in a 31.9, so he's a good amount faster than Martin there. Seemingly getting to grips with those intermediates better. Alfie with the wing damage here, still wanting to complete the lap apparently. Didn't end up going to pits. We've got the other CPIK now of Ragnar coming into the final corner as well. If he wants to beat his teammate, he will probably have to do better than what he just did there. Massive lockup into the final corner. Losing the rear a little bit, and Diaz open up the line. I don't think he'll be anywhere near his teammate. 32.8 into P6. Actually, the exact same lap time as Alaran Donique there. Both at a 32.881. Alfie across the line, 37.3 there with the wing damage, of course, not able to put in a competitive lap time. We've got Aaron coming up in the final corner here for PAFR. Bit of a lockup as well there, as he had to correct. I think the rear's locking up. And Aaron now going back in the pits, actually, not opting to finish the lap at all. Almost going into the pit wall there, spinning into the pit entry as well. Of course, now further people retiring. Yeah, I mean, as soon as everybody retires, we can go on to Q2, so I'm not sure what these guys are waiting for. We've got T2T Luca as well starting a lap here. Going down the S section. Can see he's being very very conservative steering inputs there. Not a lot of steering input at all. Being very careful on the throttle as well. As he has to be, of course, on the intermediates and dry conditions. They are not exactly grippy. And over the course of this lap as well, it'll start overheating. So he has to be wary of understeer as well in this session. Teammate Alfie about to come into the pits here, I think. At this point, almost everybody has retired. Only the two T2T cars and Umax still to wait for. One of 3.7 by Luca there in the middle sector, which the game says is purple. Not sure how that actually compares to Igor's time. And Luca now coming up in the final corner here. Looked like a pretty decent lap from what I saw. Stays on the right hand side all the way down the back straight, the main straight here, and over line 32.341 P4 for the T2T driver. Why is Wumax going out again? You're already P1. And nobody else is even any DMD session anymore. I think he's put on a use of tires though, so at least for him he's not wasting any more tires. Still a weird decision to make to go for another lap in this session. I mean, he's already guaranteed through. Like even if 5 people join the lobby now, he would still be P6 at best, at worst. I mean, sorry. But yeah, we're halfway through Q1 now, 9 minutes to go, and then we can get into the actual action here, where things start to matter a bit. But Wumax is gonna try and put one more lap in here, it seems. Once again on the soft compound, the only driver in this session using the dry compounds. Comes toward the final corner now. And he's actually gonna come back in the pits there. Okay. I thought he was gonna go for a lap now. He's actually crashing the pit wall as well. The wings flying off the other tower there. He's now tired in the pit lane. Okay. So once Luca is back in the pits and can retire, we can move on to qualifying 2 here finally. There we go. That is Q1 done. Everybody is made into Q2. And Rumax puts in the fastest time in Q1, but of course it doesn't really mean much, I would say, so considering it's the only one on the soft tires, and yeah, nobody was really trying in this session. Everybody goes through by default. 15 drivers only today, unfortunately. And now we can move on to Q2, the session that actually matters, where people start getting knocked out today. And there we are. We've loaded into Q2. All 15 drivers still in the session. And now they will actually start using soft tires as well. And now that we, like most people haven't used a soft in Q1, they will be able to use 2 in Q2 and then 2 again in Q3. So it'll be less of a struggle for them to manage. Or also what they could be doing is only use 1 each in Q2 and 3, which would then mean that they have a fresh set of softs left for the race. They have to give 1 back, so if they manage to only use 2 out of the 4 they have, they will have 1 fresh one for the race. Right now they have access to 3 softs. If they go to Q3, they will get a 4th one, which they have to give back after Q3. Assuming they have chosen the balanced tire option. I'm not sure how it actually is if you use softer or harder, but I don't think anybody uses harder. I don't think there's a single person in this game who's ever picked the harder tire compound option, at least on a 50% race weekend. I don't think you ever need a second set of hards. So yeah, Wumax, the first one out the pits on the soft once again. A couple of other cars as well out. We've got CPI Ragnar, Toby, Vapor Shadow for X. I think he's... I don't know if he was in Vapor until recently. I'm guessing he was, and he hasn't changed his name yet. So yeah, Wumax halfway around his out lap now. The first one will put in their lap in this session for Team PEFR. I believe as well that Wumax, I think it was Wumax who scored their first points last week as well, so yeah, returning after the first points finish for this team for the in the second round of the season, now returning for the third round. We'll be hoping to continue that, score some more points for the team. Taking a wide line, of course, through the final corner, getting the best exit possible. And now over the main straight, Dia is open, and the first lap of Q2 has begun. Should be braking just about at the 100 meter board. So you take the curb on the inside, doesn't take the curb into turn 2 much either, stays in 4th gear all the way through. So not confident the car will stick on the exit, it seems. Down in the S section now into 4th gear, down to the curb on the outside, but it's very high, so it unsettles the car just a little bit. Has to lift just a tiny amount there through turn 7, and now goes over the curb there on the exit of turn 8. Goes straight on, and that is his lap ruined. So instead we'll go on board with CPI Ragnar, who will be the first one to compete in a lap in Q2. Max might still compete this lap actually, but it's not going to be a very good lap after that mistake. We'll see. Ragnar, can he keep it flat through here? Yes, he can, rather easily as well. No massive wheel movement there. The car seemed very stable. CPI man, the first sector, it's a 32.4. We compare that to I think it was Shadow, who was the next one behind him, and he puts in a 32.7. So Ragnar actually faster than Shadow, despite the fact he's on the mediums. But he missed the apex, going through turn 16 there. Not ideal for him, that might have cost him a 10th or something like that. Of course, being on the mediums, I would say this is not going to be his final lap. Unless he is way faster than everybody else in this session. He shouldn't have to go back onto the softs later on to secure himself a spot in the top 10. I don't think he'll be able to go through on mediums. But we see a couple of mediums actually. We've got Alfie, Luca and Ragnar all on the medium compound here. So those guys are trying to save the softs for the race, I think, I would assume. And now around the final corner, CPI, Ragnar, Diaz open up to the line. What's it gonna be? 128.212. Now let's compare that to Vapor Shadow coming across the line now within a 127.943. 3 tenths faster. Only 3 tenths, so you would think he'd be have a bigger gap considering that Ragnar's in the mediums. Toby coming out the final corner as well now for NLR. Diaz up to the line. And for Toby it's going to be a 127.484, significantly faster than Shadow. 5 tenths difference there between those two now. Aaron coming across the final corner here. Kirio just putting their 27.5 there into second place. And for Aaron it's a 29.0. 5th position. Luca, new fast level session, 27.3 on mediums, that's very impressive. His teammate Alfie, 29.6 on the mediums. Casanova is the last one to complete a lap here. 1001 in the middle sector. 27.3 to beat the fastest in this session. His teammate putting in a 27.4. Which put Toby in the second place. Where can Casanova go? Can he beat those lap times? It's gonna be a 27.275, the fastest time so far. Into P1 for Analar Casanova. We've got Voitinho as well for ERO on his lap here, but he goes over the curb there. Actually stays valid somehow. Definitely went over the white line, so I guess the game thinks he lost enough time that it's not worth invalidating the lap. He is allowed to continue. But I don't think this will be a very good lap from him. He can certainly do better than this. Missing the apex as well through the long right hander of turn 13. Yeah, definitely not an ideal lap from Voitinho here. I think he should be able to find some more time in his second run later. But we'll see. What is his split time? Got to 101.8. So that's 1.8 or 1.7 I think off what Casanova did. So he might just about get in the 128, might even be a 129. Certainly not where he was where we hoping to be, I think. Goes past, well, that would be the only Alpine in the session, Kirio, who's almost been back to the pits after his first one, of course. And now up to the line for Voy, it's gonna be a 129.627, barely beating Alfie there by 15,000 of a second. Meanwhile, both LRN cars on their first run in this session. Martin slightly further ahead, 32.0 in the first sector for Martin. And for Donique it was a, I don't know, game doesn't show, but it's purple, so apparently a pretty good first sector for Donique. Oh, Martin just tapping the wall there through turn 16 on the inside. Not ideal for sure. Seems to be able to continue on though, no major damage, or no damage at all I would say probably. It was a very light tap. But definitely I think took him off the race time. 100.3 in the middle sector. His teammate, once again I didn't see. Oh, 59.6, oh okay. The first one below a minute in the middle sector I believe. So a good amount up on the previous best we saw by Casanova. Donique might be on for a provisional fastest time in this session. The first 126. Martin going across the line, putting in a 27.4 into third place, and his teammate Donique. Is he gonna go on the 126s here? He isn't! Barely! 127.015. He does put 2.5 tenths on the rest of the field though. We now have a few others doing their first run as well. Izzard, Peace, Igor. Rumax is back out on track as well after the mistake he had on his first run. Went straight back to the pits, didn't even finish the lap. 101.5 in the middle sector. We'll go on both Izzard as well. I want to see what he's currently doing. Keep an eye on Rumax to make sure we don't miss him going over the line. For Izzard it's gonna be a 59.699 in the middle sector. What about Peace, his teammate? A 1 minute flat. We'll go back to Rumax. Is he coming up to the line here? So we're gonna miss Igor crossing the sector 29, I think. For Mumax, it's a 128.9 into P9. Meanwhile, P is coming up from the final corner. Sorry, Izard already around the final corner. But the relentless car's the wrong way around there, was on the wrong car. Izard over line 127.175. His teammate Peace. It's gonna be a 127.294. What about Igor? A 1002 in the middle sector. It's gonna be a 127.331 into P5. So still nobody in the 126s. I thought we would for sure see some drivers in the 126s pretty early on here. I'm not sure if the track development was impacted by the lack of running in Q1. Not sure if the game actually simulates it that well. But yeah, I have to say, I was expecting times to be faster early on here. Just also trying to click through here, see if anybody's on a push lap, but I don't think so. Alfie should be the next one who will start one. He's currently last, 29.642 he did on the mediums earlier. So he's certainly gonna hope that he can improve on that. He's 2.6 seconds off the fastest time so far and 1.7 off the top 10. So definitely needs to find more time here if he wants to get himself into Q3. He's gonna go down to turn 1 here. The TGT driver driving for Aston Martin. Bit of teleporting going on there as well, so maybe some connection is not sure if it's on my side or his side. I would hope it's on his side, because if the host is lagging, that's gonna be an issue. But yeah, he's keeping it mostly flat through the S's. He had just a tiny lift there to get the car rotated in, maybe getting a bit of a better line through the second part. Onto the curb on the exit though, but that certainly wasn't ideal. It's gonna be a 32.5 in the first sector, 6 tenths up on his previous best though. So that alone already puts him in the area of Wumax and Aaron for 12th and 13th. He's coming up behind his teammate as well now, behind TGT Luca. Might be seeing some slipstream here, and there's the opportunity. Might as well take it indeed. Bit of a tow from Luca for his teammate. Just helping him that little bit. He's up by 1.1 seconds after the middle sector. Goes a bit deep there as Peace now tires in the pits. He thinks he's done enough with that 27.2. The air is open for Alfie as he comes up over the back straight here down towards the hairpin. The final corner of this lap. Can he beat the 27.943 that Vapor Shadow put in? He's up retiring as well. Both relentless cars are confident they are through. And Alfie up to lines a 128.496 into P12. Gains 1.1 seconds, still missing half a second to Shadow though. Wumax coming out the pits again, of course. I would guess everyone who's outside the top 10 will try one more time here. Gonna have a look at the tires as well. Ragnar on the mediums. So he can certainly improve a lot. Luca on the mediums as well in P6 there, a very promising time. Only 3 tenths off the fastest time. He's put on softs now, so he's going to try again. And I would say Lucas want to keep an eye out if he's doing a 27.3 on mediums. Only 3 tenths off the current fastest time. Now that he's put on softs, chances are he'll be a lot faster. We'll see how much does he gain from the first sector. That's where most of the time again is. Already he's up by close to 4 tenths. Well, he's also 4 tenths away from that 126 barrier. So can Luca break into the 126s here? It's looking good so far. Casanova tying in the pits as well. He also believes that he is safe. Everybody outside the top 10 should still do one more lap here. Voy is still in the pits, so he hasn't gone out yet. I think he's just going out now. I see a Haas leaving the pit lane. Luca up by 5 tenths now after the middle sector. So a very good lap from Luca here, it looks like. Dia is now open as he goes across the back straight. And into the final corner, the hairpin. Braking just after the 100 meter board. Gets the car rotating onto the apex nicely. Not quite over the curb on the inside there. That curb is just painted on, so you can definitely go all the way over it. Doesn't affect your car at all. And Luca up to the line 26.755. There we go, the first 126. So Nick is actually back out on track as well, so he doesn't think he's safe with that 27.0. Using a fresh set of tires as well, so interesting choice by Dunning. I thought he would be safe for sure, but he seems to disagree. We've got Wumax, who's just coming out the first 2 corners now into the S section. He needs to gain a full second to get himself into the top 10. Can he find a good amount of time through the middle sector here. Or the first sector, sorry. Not the ideal line, I would say. And over the curb, invalidating, and into the wall as well. Wumax is out of the session. And that's it, he's out of qualifying. Thankfully, he's off the racing line, so he's not going to be in anyone's way in the way he crashed there. Ragnar and Aaron starting the laps now. Ragnar currently in P11, Aaron in P14, so they are under pressure as well. Aaron needs to gain 1.1 seconds, Ragnar needs to gain 3, but of course Ragnar, he was in the mediums earlier. So I think even a relatively safe lap for his standards should be able to, should be enough to get him into Q3. Aaron is tired as well, Aaron has crashed! The next car that's crashed out, both PAFR cars crashing. Yeah, maybe buckling under pressure. Alfie retiring in the pits, he's done as well. Only Ragnar and Voy still in contention for a lap into Q3. So only Kirio and Shadow are currently in danger, because they are trying to improve as well. Ragnar up by 5/10 there. Significant improvement from the McLaren driver for CPI here. His teammate Igor in P6 is also out on track. We'll keep our eye out on Ragnar here as he goes past sector 2. He's done a 59.990. He's up by 8/10. Significant improvement by CPI Ragnar. Might even be one of the fastest times in the session so far. An 8/10 improvement already is a 0.4. And of course he still has one more corner to go here to gain some more time. And on traction as well. Gets all the way up to the wall on the inside. I think even slightly tapping it. Luca retiring in the pits. He's at 26.7. He's obviously safe. 27 actually. 0.32 for Ragnar. P3. Shadow now down into P11. He has to improve here. Kirio improving as well, is he? Not sure. I didn't get a delta time there. Martin coming up to the line as well. He's in P8. He's not in P9. Sorry, he's not entirely safe. Igor as well trying to improve here. Martin 26.7. What an improvement there. Up into second position. Shadow coming up to the line. Can he beat anyone here? 27.868, and that's it for Shadow. He's out in P11. What about Voy? He's the only one outside top 10 still doing a lap. He's the only one who can knock anyone out now. Ego's the driver in danger now. Now it's Peace. And Voy coming up to the line. It's going to be a 127.974 into P12. And that's that. Qualifying 2 is over, and in the end, it's a pretty significant gap from P10 to 11. 6/10 there between Peace and Vapor Shadow. And I think I just saw someone putting in a new fast lap right at the end there. I was keeping my eye mostly on the guys outside the top 10, as of course those are the crucial ones, but I would like to know... Donique, I think it was right at the end there, 26.624, beating Luca by a good 10th. So yeah, in the end, it is Vapor Shadow, Voitinho, Alfie, Wumax, and Aaron who get knocked out in Q2 here. But yeah, a 6/10 gap there from Peace to Shadow. Pretty big gap there after the top 10 it seems. Now our top 10 are Donique, Luca, Igor, Martin, Ragnar, Kirio, Toby, Izzat, Casanova, and Peace. So looking promising though. 6/10s only separating those top 10. Only 1.5 10 separating the top 4. Could be a very interesting Q3 coming up here. And of course the race around Saudi Arabia I think never disappoints. It's always one of the most exciting races, I would say, in league racing. It's a track I really enjoy watching. Driving it depends, honestly. It's like very hit or miss. A race around Saudi Arabia is either very frustrating or very enjoyable. There doesn't seem to be any in between, really. And here we are in Q3, the first cars already leaving the pit lane, some of the NLR cars. Both NLR cars, in fact, already the first two out on track, and Casanova was the first one of those two, so he's the one we'll be on board with at the start of Q3 here. Of course, everybody should now be using the final set of softs here, or the final two set of softs. I'm not sure if anyone managed to only use one. I think Luca only used one set of softs in Q1. I think Casanova as well, maybe Peace, I'm not sure. There was a few guys who went through with their first run. So yeah, all the guys who either went through the first run or were on mediums and then later on the softs should have three sets of softs left for Q3. So they can either do 3 runs or only use one of those softs in the session and have a fresh set of softs for the race. Or I guess they could do 2 and just waste one of them, but I think none of those guys are gonna want to do that. Casanova's slowing down a bit here. Apparently his tires aren't quite up to temperature yet. He's dragging the brake to get get them warmed up. And into the final corner, here we go. Casanova, the first driver in Q3 who will start the run. Of course, should be aiming for at least a 126, I would say, based on what we saw in Q2. Heading down towards turn 1 now. Braking just after the 100 meter board, I think, or just before it actually. Very nice line through the first chicane there by Casanova, and now down to the S's, the crucial part of this track. That's where you gain most of the time, or where you lose all of the time. Staying close to the walls, over the painted curb, avoid these curbs. Oh, goes a bit far over that inside curb and gets washed out to the outside. Not ideal for Casanova. It's a 32.1 in the first sector. And I think he lost a tenth or two at least through that final 5 TSs, just yeah, going too far over that inside curb and then bottoming out over the outside as well. Kyrgios crashed! Kyrgios crashed on his first run here. Go on board with Luca, see if you can see what happened. Just at the first part of the SS, he's just despawned before you see him. I assume he's crashed into that barrier on the right hand side. Very unfortunate for Kyrio. He's done. He will start in 10th place. Unless anybody else who's currently behind him crashes as well, of course. But, well, if Izzard, Ragnar and Casanova do any lap at all, Kyrio will be starting in 10th position today. And Casanova coming out the final corner. Toby has crashed as well, the second one in this session. And he's crashed on the exit of turn 23 there, it seems. Casanova putting in at 27.0. Moment there's nobody anywhere near Toby, so I can't see what happened to him, unfortunately. Ragnar 26.1, immediately beating Casanova there. Next one across the line will be T2T Luca, 59.6 in the middle sector. A very good middle sector, I think that is. Luca, the only T2T driver in Q3 here, with Alfie having gone out in Q2. Doesn't go over the painted curb on the inside there. Missing the apex slightly at the final corner, but up to the line is gonna be a 126 for Luca, I think. 26.6, there we go, the new fastest time, provisional pole. Izzard starting his run now. We've got Martin, who's abandoned his run apparently, it seems. Then we'll should I go to Igor. Next driver who will come across the line here. His teammate in second place at 26.801. Not the ideal final corner there at all. Very far from the apex. But Diaz opened up to the line. It's going to be a 126.513. Despite that mistake, still a good amount clear of Luca. Danique putting in a 59.5 in the middle sector. He just has the one corner to go now. Well, this right here is technically a corner, but yeah, not really is it. It's fully flat in all weather conditions. Not that you'd ever have rain around Saudi Arabia anyways. We are in the middle of a desert. So a CPI car on the inside there. Danique going around it up to the line, 26.569. Half a tenth of Igor there. Going to second position. Izzard is invalidating his run. Peace getting a tow from Izzard, which should help him move up towards the front. Very nice line there through that part of the track. Cam now joining for X. He's going to start in 16th position. X getting their second driver right at the end of qualifying, just in time. So he's going to have to do a last first challenge here, it seems. Diaz open for Peace, and up to the line is going to be a 126.587, despite his slipstream not quite able to beat Danique and Igor, who stay in first and second. At the moment, nobody on a push lap. We have about 6 minutes to go, so I think everybody has one more run in the session if they want to. And I assume everybody wants a second run, surely. Nobody's going to be happy with that first run they did. Everybody, I think, has some more time to find here. So yeah, P's on his way back in the pits here, the same goes for Donike, and the rest is currently in the pits. Reason to see when those guys go out. Of course, P's with the slipstream on his first run. It's gonna be difficult for him to improve on the second one though. I don't think he'll get a slipstream again, because Izzard, of course, has to do his own lap as well. I think it was only a matter of circumstance that Izzard happened to invalidate his run, so he thought, well, I might as well help my teammate. So I think for Peace it's gonna be a struggle to find any more time in that final run now. Unless he had a major mistake somewhere on that lap that I didn't see, of course. Could always be the case. I wasn't able to be on board with everyone for that lap, of course, so I can't judge if their laps were good for the standards or if they had any mistakes in them. So yeah, just waiting for the drivers to go out for their final run. Hoping that they'll be able to compete for this pole position. Right now it seems like Igor, Donike, Peace and Luca are the ones to look out for that one. Although I wouldn't count out anyone else in the session either. They were all showing pretty good pace in Q2 there. Yeah, the field split wasn't very far. And of course, I think the slowest guys in Q2, the likes of Casanova, I think, who was Casanova and Peace, I think, were down in P9 and 10. They only did the one run right at the start, so they will have certainly been able to find some more time as well if they really wanted to. Of course, they didn't need to, so they didn't bother, opting to save a set of tires instead, which of course is a smart decision if it pays off and if you go through with only one run. Only using the one tire is always a good thing for you. There we go, the first couple cars are now out on track. The first one of those is Igor, who is currently the fastest driver in this session. His best lap at 1:26.513. So the question is, how much more time can he gain in the end here, or can anybody else then beat him to pole position? So far, the only teams who've gotten, well, not just a pole, but even a front row start is CPI. They've won 1-2 in both qualifyings. At the moment, they're first and fifth. Well, for them, is uncharacteristically low, but I would say first and fifth isn't exactly a bad qualifying either, so CPI, yeah, showing their high standards. Once again, both drivers, I would say, in contention for pole position here. Both drivers in Q3 and seeming to have good pace as well. And here we go, Igor coming up to the final corner. He will be the first one who will do his final run in Q3. He sets the benchmark for everybody else to beat. And there we go, he's over the line. He's gonna brake just before the 100 meter board into turn 1. Goes all the way over the curb on the inside. Gets the car rotated very nicely through the second power chicane as well, and now down to the S section. The most crucial part of this lap. So maybe a bit too much speed carried in there as he missed the apex just a tiny amount of turn 3 there, or turn 4 I think it is. Staying off those high curbs on the exit of the S's. Let's see, that was a very good S section I think. It's a 31.605, 85 thousandths gain for Igor. So already up in the first sector by close to a 10th. Good start to the lap for him. We'll see if he can keep this up for the rest of the lap. It's all the way down to 4th gear here, so yeah, most drivers opting to go for 5th, but he's gone 1 gear lower than the rest. A bit lower entry speed for better acceleration, that is. 59.384 in the middle sector, up by 1.5 tenths. Igor looking good here. At the moment on for a .3. And we'll see how that compares then to everybody else in the session if he's able to get pole position here. Up to the final corner, Igor. Gets the car rotated in nicely. Although not quite all the way over the the paint curve on the inside. 26.208, 3 tenths gained by Igor. Next car across the line will be his teammate Ragnar. He's up by 1.5 tenths in the middle sector. So not quite as fast as his teammate so far, it seems. Maybe he can find some time for the final corner here, but we saw him make a mistake earlier. DRS open up to the line for CPI Ragnar. It's going to be 126.558. P2 for now, but for how much longer? Luca gaining good around as well. 4-0 into P2. Next car across the line, Donike. Oh, Peace into the wall. Peace will not be improving on this qualifying session. Donike up by 65,000. His teammate Martin afterwards as well. Casanova coming up to 9 as well, and then it's Izzard. Those are the only guys still in this qualifying session. Donike 26.529 into P3. Teammate Martin 26.660 P5. Peace into the wall. Once again now. Casanova into third at 26.441, and now Izzard the last one in the session, 26.715. That was, I think, into P8. Getting the final points paying position in qualifying here. 1 point for Relentless there. Through Izzard stealing 8th right at the end. And there we go. 5-10 separating the top 8. P9 and 10, Toby and Kirio, of course, having the crashes right in the start of qualifying 3. Not able to put in any lap at all. And it is Igor on pole position for Team CPI here with a 26.208. Followed by Luca in second place. Close to 2 tenths the gap there between those guys. So, I mean, yeah, 5-10 separating the top 8. And then if you count out Igor, it's only 3 tenths. So congratulations to Igor, the third pole in the third race for CPI here in the F1 Total Esports division. But now we've got a 25 lap race coming up around the streets of Saudi Arabia. An amazingly difficult track to keep consistent on. And I would say, even though Igor seemed very fast there, 2 tenths faster than anybody else in fact, that means nothing for the race around a track like this, where it is so difficult to keep the car out of the barriers, and so crucial to stay consistent. And also DRS plays a massive factor. There's 3 very long DRS straights around this track, so if you can't break the DRS train, you can be as fast as you like. Once someone is in DRS, it's so difficult to get rid of them, so if Igor can't build a 1 second gap in the first 3 laps, chances are he'll be under pressure for the rest of this race. So we'll see how this plays out. Of course, I would say keep an eye out on Cam as well down in 16th. He didn't have any practice, I think, at all, considering he joined, like halfway through Q3. Hopefully for him, I'm not sure how it actually works, if he's able to put a loaded setup now, if he has to run default. Okay, apparently it's put him in a Ferrari. So he's in the incorrect car, but it's not a big deal. I think the Ferrari is normally the car of Ecos. New Zealand Cam, of course, driving for Team X. The game putting him in the wrong car there, but yeah, not a massive deal. Here we are. The 5 lights are on, and it's lights out for me, not for the drivers. Now it's lights out. It's away we go. And Luca on the softs there. Already with a good start alongside Igor to turn 1 on the inside line. Now to the outside into turn 2. Luca taking the lead of this race. But Igor still is fighting back on the outside line. Now down to turn 3. Luca's cleared him. He's up into the first position. And now he's trying to build a gap. He's there moving past Ragnar to the S section. There's a car around in the back. I think that's Alfie. Alfie is spun, dropping down to the last position. Luca has to now build a gap, get away from Igor as fast as he can, make use of those softs. Martin moving past Toby for 8. Toby now getting eaten up as well here as well. by Kirio, moving up into 9th position. Toby going into his back there. Thankfully, both cars continuing on as normal. We'll go back in the front here, keep an eye out on TGT Luca, who had a great race start, making use of those softs, getting away well, and jumping Igor down to turn 1. Toby moving back past Kirio now, up into 9th position. Igor is all over the back of Luca here, it seems, as Luca didn't have the best of exits there. Now down into the hairpin. Igor might have a chance to retake first position here, which would be crucial for him as well, making sure that Luca is stuck behind him and can't make good use of those softs. But Igor isn't going for it just yet. It seems he is happy staying in 2nd place. Didn't take his chance. But look at this, Sonic is all over Casanova here, down to turn 1. This might be his chance to move up into 3rd place. He's gonna have a look up the inside. Casanova squeezing him a bit to the inside, and Sonic sends it on the brakes. Gets ahead, but Casanova still there on his inside now on the exit of turn 2. And they're still side by side now down to turn 3. Casanova on the outside, Donique on the inside, has the advantage, I would say. And he does move past Casanova there, who has to give up the place and stick behind. But they have also, through battling, lost a lot of time there. 1.1 seconds to gap now between Igor and Donique. So I would say not a what either driver would have won in there. Casanova now moving back past Donique, who makes a mistake on the exit of the S section. Back up into 3rd place, the gap widening though between Igor and the cars behind. 1.5 seconds. Looks like the top 2 are flying away here. A bit of a train building all the way from P3 to P10 right now. Roy is the first one who has a larger gap in front of him. 2 seconds there, separating him from Kirio. Keep an eye on Cam as well. I think he might try and move past him soon. On the mediums here, tire advantage in favor of Cam. Casanova trying to get back in there inside that 1 second range of Luca. Casanova now, Cam now with a switchback on Roy, moving up into 10th place. We've got Toby moving past Martin for P8. Meanwhile, at the front, Luca just over 3/10 ahead of Igor here. Is he safe down in turn 1? They're both burning overtake. Igor is gonna have a go, I think. Fast lap from Igor in the process. And he might send it on the brakes, and this could help Casanova as well to close back up. Igor moving past under brakes already, not now all that much time lost, so Casanova would have been hoping for him to battle a bit more, but he is now barely within 1 second again, which is very crucial, but he had to burn a lot of ERS to make that happen. But the train has been connected once again, the entire top 10. Within 1 second, there's a car spinning around, that's Martin. Losing it there into the S section, going around, dropping down to P15. Very unfortunate for the LN driver. Not sure if he tapped the inside barrier, maybe? Looked like a very immediate spin, so that might have been what happened. I'm really not sure why he's had that spin through there. Meanwhile, Izzard and Ragnar both struggling to stay within a second of the car ahead of them. And yeah, one other gap forming the train. Casanova, meanwhile, also dropping outside 1 second of Luca once again. Yeah, and now that Luca has DRS from Igor, while Casanova doesn't have DRS from Luca, it'll be very difficult for the NLR driver to stay within a second. And this could now be the point where the DRS trains are separated already on the first 3 laps of this race. Luca might be able to go at Igor actually. He's closing in nicely, as we see from this helicopter view. He's gonna get alongside into the final corner, he isn't. But he's so close behind him, a good chance to go for a move into turn 1, retake the lead once again. I think these two are gonna keep swapping positions for a while here in this race. Casanova as well under pressure from Donique behind. Doesn't seem like Luke's gonna go for it. Meanwhile, in the background, we see Peace going for the move on Donique and on Casanova as well into turn 1. Casanova defending the inside, Peace trying to hang it around the outside of him. Now 3 wide down to turn 3. This can only end badly. Surely someone has to pull out. It seems like Casanova has pulled out. Played it smart. Donique going off there, moving past Peace up into 3rd place. And there we go, Donique taking 3rd, Peace moving into 4th, and Casanova opting to play it safe. Yeah, was in the middle of that 3-way situation. Just going off the gas, it seemed, as Izzard makes a mistake on the X of the S's, and Kirio goes round his outside there, off track as well. Might have been a legal overtake, not sure if he's allowed to keep that one within the game. As Wumax moves past Cam for 11th place. Cam there going very wide, it seems. Getting passed by both Shadow and Wumax. Not sure if something has gone wrong with his car. He's definitely got some good amount of understeer there. He might have some wing damage, I'm not sure. Wumax making a mistake there. Shadow slipping through, and so does Cam. I think Cam has wing damage. Yes, the front right end plate, I think, is damaged? No, it seems intact. He had massive understeer there. Yeah, he definitely has wing damage. Look at the understeer on this Ferrari. I think we're gonna see Cam come from the pits any of this lap. He's moving past Sonic for 3rd position. Casanova having a look around the outside as well. Wumax moving past Cam for P11 there as well. Peace might be safe in turn 1, but look at Luca all over the back of Igor once again into turn 1. Peace actually now getting overtaken by Noniku, sends it up the inside into turn 1 and now around the outside through turn 2. And then will once again be side by side down to turn 3. It'll be Noniku on the inside who actually pulls out of the move, allowing Peace to have the position. Meanwhile, all this battling is allowed Ragnar to move up back to the DRS range and very close behind Casanova now. Toby as well within DRS range as well of them. Cam actually not opting to pit despite the fact he definitely has wing damage. Is that now the first driver in this race in the 3-second time penalty? I don't see any visual damage, but you can see the way the Ferrari is not rotating. He has to go down to 2nd gear here. So yeah, Cam just really not getting that car into the corner at all. Casanova tapping the barrier just slightly on the exit of the corner, moving on to the DRS straight here. Hopefully for him, he hasn't picked up any damage there. Luca dropping outside 1 second of Igor now, which is very crucial. Igor might have secured his lead, at least for now. Or is Luca still within DRS range? No, he's not. Meanwhile, Donique, Peace, and this entire train still battling over 3rd. Donique moving past Peace into the final corner. Goes a bit deep though. Might open up Peace's chance in the switchback. Now with the DRS heading to turn 1, Peace should be able to move back past. He's so close behind him. And I think there's a good chance Casanova gets them both actually, because he goes through the middle, 3 wide into turn 1. Although Donique moves out of the 3 wide situation, Casanova gets past both of them and takes 3rd position in this race. Peace trying to snag alongside on the exit of turn 2, but he can't. Casanova into 3rd place, secured for now. But looking at the way this battle has been developing, he'll keep this for 1 lap at most, and by the time we're at the final corner, we're gonna see someone else in P3. This is an almighty battle here from this entire train: Casanova, Peace, Donique, Ragnar, and Toby. And now we have yellow flags for not the PFR cars. Wumax with the spin in the S section. Cam getting a penalty. Toby moving past Ragnar side by side actually through turn 13. Toby hanging around the outside. Very nice move by Toby, and he moves up into 6th position. A great move by Toby, taking advantage of this train. Ragnar maybe getting slowed down a bit there by the cars ahead of him. But Toby very low on the ERS. Has used a lot of ERS to make that move happen, it seems, and Ragnar has a good chance of moving right back past him, it seems. Meanwhile, Peace all on back of Casanova. Both NLR cars under pressure. Wumax has crashed! And with tire position, it's a full course safety car has been called out now. On lap 6 here of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Neutralizing the race. We'll see. Does anybody pit now? Maybe for Hearts? Can Hearts go to the end from here? Looks like Igor's coming in. So is Luca. Casanova coming in as well. Peace actually staying out. Donique coming in. Toby coming in as well. Ragnar coming in. Peace seeming to be the only driver in the session staying out. Everybody else coming in. Kirio in. Izzard in. Shadow in. Cam is in. Martin is in. Aaron is in. Voy is in. So yeah, Peace, the only one staying out on those old tires. Martin getting a penalty there. 5-second penalty, speeding in the pit lane. Alfie coming in as well. And that's everybody on fresh tires now, apart from Peace. Mostly hards. We've got mediums for Luca, softs for Izzard and Aaron, mediums for Voy, and for Alfie it's gonna be mediums as well. But yeah, most of the grid swapping from mediums to hards, which should be able to take him to the end from here, I think. Have a little look at the penalties. It's 5 for Martin and 3 for Izzard and Cam. So Luca on the mediums, interesting choice. He started on the soft, of course, so he had a bit more freedom what he went on to now. But I'm surprised he opted to go for mediums. I thought he was would have also gone for the hards. I guess he thinks these mediums will last to the end and not drop off majorly. but I'm not sure I think that's gonna be the case. I think they could go to the end for sure, but they'll go way over the magical, what is it, 61% I think it is, the drop-off point, where the tires start losing crazy amounts of time. So, yeah, Luca going for a bit of a gamble, I would say, here. Maybe hoping for another safety car as well, which could allow him to pit for softs. Plenty of options to, yeah, to go to the end from here, to strategically take advantage of your different strategy here, but yeah, I think I would have gone for the hards as well in his position, or in everybody else's position. They take it to the end easily, and without any issue, I think, should be able to go to the end. Yeah, what's that? 17 laps on the green flags, maybe, not even. Not even 17. I think it's gonna be 16 laps on the green flags. Martin coming back in the pits as well. He was in the hards, so he's gonna go into softs. Interesting. Oh, of course, yeah, Martin serving the 5-second penalty he got when he pitted last lap. That makes sense. But, yeah, he has to go off the hard tire to do that, and that means he will have to do one more pit stop later on, because these softs are certainly not going to the end. And I guess he already used his medium, so he only had softs as a real option. And the problem for him now, the safety car is probably going to come in this lap, isn't it? So he can't pit again. I think what he is going to try and do is pit at the end of this lap again and go back to the hards. But wouldn't you have the opportunity to actually do that? If the safety car gets called in this lap, then he is going to be in big trouble. Martin has to hope that everybody else has to go for one more lap behind the safety car. On his, I think he's gonna go slowly here. Yeah, Martin's going very slowly. I guess he doesn't want to. Yeah, his thinking is if I catch up the safety car, it will get called in. But if I slow down, it's gonna keep waiting for me and not go in this lap. So Martin's gonna crawl around the lap here and try to extend the safety car. Oh, I've been told actually by Finlay from X that Cam doesn't have damage. He's just running a default setup for some reason. I guess he wasn't able to load the setup on the grid then. Very unfortunate. So he's gonna have to. That explains why I didn't see damage, but his car seemed so unbelievably understeer. And also, I mean, the fact that I thought he had damage when he was just driving a default setup shows how terrible, truly terrible, the default setup on the Formula 1 game is. How little rotation you get going into corners, so how understeer it is, and it seems like the safety car is now going to stay out for one more lap as Martin has indeed not closed up to the safety car. So it's not going to be called in. We'll have to do one more lap behind the safety car. Martin can switch back onto the hard compound. Yeah, there we go. Safety car is past the pit entry. And we'll restart at the end of lap 9. That should actually help Luca quite a bit, and as well as Voy and Alfie on the mediums. The longer we spend behind the safety car, the better the tire will be, as Voy and Alfie are swapping places here. What is going on between those two? Looks like it's sorted now. Aaron getting a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Not sure what's happened here, and he's gonna have to pit again, so he's definitely serving this penalty. Won't be able to be removed if it was an unfair penalty. Voy getting a 5-second penalty as well. So seems like there was some chaos going on with Alfie, Voy and Aaron. I saw Alfie and Voy some places. Aaron, as Martin gets a 3-second penalty for corner cutting. In the pit lane. What? Is this some kind of... Wait, let me check the race director. What did you get that penalty for? Doesn't say. Warning on lap 1, invalid lap time on lap 9. Well, if we go into the incident, if we can see it here maybe. Ah, well that's unfortunate. Martin crossed the the pit lane exit white line twice, I think, which gave him, on the first time we get a warning, on the second time we get a penalty. And, well, he has to hope as well that no other team reports that, because the stewards of our league would be giving a 5-second penalty for that. So, yeah, he unlucky to get caught out by the game there. Normally the game doesn't even notice when you cross the white line, I think. But he's been given a warning for it by the game twice. And therefore got a 3-second time penalty. Safety car in this lap. Peace now setting the pace here. For the restart, he can decide when we go on the old tires. He's going to be under big pressure from cars behind him, from Igor, from Luca, from Casanova, from everybody else on those fresh compound tires and the fresh hards and mediums. Should be significantly faster than him. But still, he decides when we go. You can just see the cars on the left-hand side. They're coming up in the final corner. Slowing down to a crawl almost in peace. Now starting to speed up here, it seems. We head into the final corner. When is he gonna go? He hasn't gone just yet. He's still slowing down. Still slowing down. Still not going. Still not going. Gonna be a very late restart here, it seems. Now he's finally accelerated. And Igor is right behind him. Luca as well, right behind Igor. Peace hasn't caught out anyone here, it seems. Luca having a little go. Igor sending it on Peace up the inside. Luca might try and take advantage of that. Casanova trying to switch back on Luca in the meanwhile. Igor now moving past Peace. Yellow flags in the background. Igor taking lead of this race. Peace still ahead of Luca. And this can be crucial for Igor. This might be his chance to start building a gap, as Peace will slow these guys down quite a bit. Luca has to try and get around him as quickly as possible. The longer he's behind here, the more of a gap Igor builds, as Peace now goes very far off the track there. On the exit of the S section, Luca slipping past, up in the second position. Casanova trying to move through as well, sending it on the brakes. And moves into third place, and now Donique trying to slip through as well on the exit. But he's still stuck behind the Mercedes. Peace hanging on to P4 for a little while longer. Meanwhile, the gap at the front, just above 1 second right now between Luca and Igor. Igor already outside DRS range, can he keep it that way? Donique now having a go at Peace. But he tucks in behind once again, wants to go for the movement to happen, it seems. Izzard on the softs, moving from the field as well, getting past Vapor Shadow. And now Donique all over the back of Peace here, swapping to the outside line. Still hasn't got around him though. Peace still managing to defend here against the LRN driver. But I think now to the final corner, he finally has a chance. Sends it on the brakes, and gets past Peace. Moving up into 4th position, although Peace trying to switch back. He hasn't given up on this just yet. Meanwhile, Ragnar putting pressure on both of them as well. Peace having a go around the outside. Now switching just back into slipstream. Now to the inside line. The two are jostling, moving all over the place here. Ragnar now trying to go around the outside of Peace as well. And Peace dropping down to P6 here, unless he can fight back against Ragnar somehow on those old tires. Toby with the switchback, slipping through as well up into P6. And Peace down to 7th place after just 1 lap and, well, 2 corners. And now his teammate coming up behind him. This should be a rather easy move for Izzard. I don't think Peace going to defend this one harsh. He should probably move out of his way for his teammate soon. Although it doesn't seem like he is. Izzard taking the outside line, moving past. Now he's let his teammate through. Peace letting off the throttle. Meanwhile, Luca has caught back up to Igor. He's within the 1 second gap. Casanova as well managed to stay on those two. Donique dropping back though. So the top 3 are right now in their own little train. Keeping out an Izzard as well on these softs. He's just gonna keep moving through the field here, I think. Next car up ahead of him is Toby. First question is how much longer those softs are gonna have a good pace here. How long until they start dropping off? Right now it still seems like he has good pace. He's gaining a bit of time through on Toby through the corners. Meanwhile, Luca is right behind Igor here as we head down into the final corner and then onto the main straight. Luca might try and retake the lead here. Once again, another position swap between those guys. We've been seeing it so often. Luca up into down to turn 1 on the inside line, should have this one easily, and indeed he does move past Igor. Casanova all over the back of them as well. He is looking for a gap here, hoping that those two battle a little bit too hard and they can slip through somewhere. Aaron and Kirio side by side into turn 1 and 2 here. Aaron on the outside line, getting ahead of the ASAC driver. And taking 12th position, using the softs to putting softs to good use. Cam retiring the pit lane there. His race is done. Well, seemingly too frustrated with that default there, but I think, well, who can blame him realistically? We saw how how amazingly unnecessary and terrible to drive that was. He's not going to be able to put in good lap times with a snap like that. Meanwhile, Izzat is close, a little bit, closer to Toby now. And also, Donique is once again within a second of the cars ahead of him. He's got one train all the way from P1 to P7. But Izzat definitely has to make more pit stop. He's the only one in this train who I'm confident isn't going to the end. And then Luca, I would put a question mark on that as well. The hard runner's definitely going to the end. Toby going for the move on Ragnar now around the outside into the final corner. Wants to move up into the top 5. And can he get around him? Ragnar on the inside line, braking late. Toby hanging around the outside, and I think Ragnar's got this covered for now. Maybe on the exit, Toby can have another go. They're both very low on ERS. Izzat might take advantage, get both of them into turn 1. As they are 3 wide into turn 1. Izzat moving past both of them. Toby getting past Ragnar, and Ragnar down to P7. Shadow moving past P for 8th position. P's continuing to lose places here on those old tires. Meanwhile, the gap is opened up between Izzat and Donique. Over a second, they're the top 4 at the moment. In a train of their own, but can Izzat close back up, use those softs and close the gap to Donique. Right now it doesn't seem like he's able to. He doesn't seem to be gaining all that much. Goes very wide, Donique on the S is not ideal for him at all. Probably a warning as well. He didn't seem to lose all that much time actually through making that mistake. Martin moving past Alfie, taking 10th position in this race. Meanwhile, the battle still rages on. Luca really close behind Igor here, definitely within range of an overtake into the DRS sections now. Close up on the first part and then be right behind for the second part of this this end of the lap. Yeah, the first DRS section here, not really an overtaking opportunity with how fast this corner right here is. It is not recommended to go side by side, but what you can do is close up in that DRS range, DRS section, and then use this DRS section to actually go for the move. But right now Luca is driving on the outside line, not using the slipstream of Igor, doesn't seem to want to go for the move at all. Happy to stay behind him, it seems. But now the turn 1 he's all over him. Surely he has to go for the move now. If he slows down too much here, he will allow Casanova through. So he has to overtake him. Or is he? Is he gonna do it? Doesn't seem like it. Luca still staying behind. Oh, Casanova's been re-ended! Donique going into the back of Casanova, spinning him around. Casanova dropping to P7. Toby getting a 3-second penalty for corner cutting there. Izzat moving past Donique, who probably has wing damage considering how massive that contact was. Very unfortunate, both Donique and Casanova out the fight for the race win now. And a full core safety car's been deployed once again. And I'm not sure why. I'm really not sure why nobody's crashed. There's been no crash. Why is there a safety car? Peace and Martin swapping places. Well, yeah, second safety car of this race on lap 14 here. 11 laps to go. Most people already used their one set of mediums. Unless they have a second one, they probably are not going to pit now. Not sure. Interesting strategy choices to go to make now. I mean, Izzat definitely is going to pit because he has to pit soon anyway. Peace is going to have to pit as well. He hasn't pitted in this race so far. But yeah, 11 laps to go. Can softs go that long? Can softs last for 11 laps around Saudi Arabia? Interesting what these drivers go for now. It's a very awkward time for a safety car, I would say. We'll see what Igor does. Igor's in the worst position to be in here. He has the first one. He has to decide what he does, and without any input from others. He's pitting. Oh wow, everybody's pitting. Toby's staying out, actually. Igor getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Under safety car, very unfortunate. Coming in from the race lead. Ragnar and Toby both staying out. Seems like everybody else is pitting. Aaron staying out on the old softs. What? What? I mean, I get Toby and Ragnar. They're thinking I'll try and defend. Hang on to positions, go to the end. But Aaron? 8 lap old softs, 10 laps to go. Those are never going to the end. So I'm not sure what he's trying to do. I'm sure he has some kind of plan, but I don't see the plan right now. Staying out on 8 lap old softs with everybody else coming in. I mean, he's gained a lot of track position, but For how long will he keep that? And, I mean, he has to pit anyway. He surely can't go to the end, so... Yeah, an interesting choice by Aaron. Igor coming out in 4th position there on fresh mediums. Luca and Izzard on mediums as well. Shadow, Doné, Casanova on the softs. Kyria on mediums, Peace, Martin, Alfie on softs, and Voy on mediums again. So a mix of mediums and softs for the guys who pitted. 10 laps to go. Probably, yeah, I would say safety car might even come in this lap. Depends how quickly these guys catch up. Although Peace is definitely not going full speed. Might be being careful of those tires, making sure they don't get too much wear on them. So I guess we will have one more lap of safety car here as... yeah, I don't think these guys are going to catch up if they keep driving like this. Although Peace is now starting to speed up a bit. They should be just on the safety car train now. You can see it up ahead. Will the safety car still be called in this late, or will we do one more lap behind the safety car? I think we're going to do one more, because it would have been called in by now, surely. Yeah, one more lap behind the safety car, it seems here. And then we'll have a 9-lap sprint to the end. And now Aaron is in the pits, 1 lap later than everybody else. And he is going to drop down to last position. Promoting everybody behind him up 1 place. What is he going to go on to? Mediums? Softs? Looks like soft compounds for Aaron. To bring him to the end of this race. Serving a penalty as well, it seems. Oh yeah, he did have a 5-second penalty. Yeah, in terms of penalties right now, we've got Toby with 3, Igor with 5, Izzard 3, and then Martin Alfie having 3 as well. Aaron just served his 5 seconds. And puts on fresh, soft compound tires. 1 lap fresher than everybody else. I guess that's what he was going for. A 1 lap tire advantage. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it could make all the difference. You never know. But yeah, he should catch up rather quickly and allow the safety car to go in at the end of this lap. And then we'll be underway for hopefully the final time, the final restart in this race. I would like to go to the end under green flags from here. With Toby in the lead right now on those old hards. It's going to be very difficult, I think, to hang on to these places. Everybody behind on much fresher, much faster tires. And the same goes for Ragnar. I think those two are going to drop like stones, but we'll see. We will see if it works out for them. Of course, there could still be another safety car, which will allow them to make a pit stop and get even fresher tires than those guys ahead of them, behind them now. Ragnar opening a bit of a gap to Toby there. He's now closing back in. Okay, interesting. I guess he was trying to warm his tires quite a bit of a gap so he could probably do some burnouts, get the rear tires warmed up. Safety car has been called in this lap. Toby now setting the pace across this final sector. And he can decide when he goes. And I'm guessing he's going to try and help his teammate out a bit here as well. Let his teammate know when he's in the goal, let Casanova maybe get a jump on Donique and Shadow. There he goes, the cars on the left hand side. And Toby's gone very early there. And he's caught Ragnar out somewhat, it seems. 5/10 the gap between them right now. But I think Ragnar's gonna let Igor pass anyway. I don't think he's gonna defend from his teammate all that much. I don't see any point in it. Yeah, Ragnar moving to the outside line, letting Igor slip through. Is Luca gonna try and follow through? No, he isn't. Ragnar actually staying alongside his teammate there. Are they battling? I can't tell. Ragnar now moving to the inside line. Luca getting alongside on the outside. Slipping through as well, it seems. Ragnar on the outside line to turn 3. Can he stay alongside the T2T driver? No! Ragnar with a half spin as well. And now with a full spin. Wings flying. Donique is off. I'm not sure whose wing that was. We've got a virtual safety car, I think. I think a virtual safety car. Yes, indeed. There's yellow flags all over the track and there's no safety car on track, so that's a virtual. I've got no idea why it doesn't say... There we go. Now it says virtual safety car. Very, very weird what just happened there between Ragnar and Igor staying alongside. I couldn't tell if they were battling or not, but yeah, Ragnar's wing is completely gone. He's dropped down to P14. Toby's still in the lead for now. Igor in second, Luca in third, Isat in fourth, and then Vapor, Shadow, and Casanova in fifth and sixth. So Neek as well getting involved in that whole thing. Hopefully for him he can carry on. I'm not sure if he picked up any damage from that. I think he did actually. Front left end plate is missing for him, if I saw that correctly. So he might have to make a pit stop, or just go to the end on yeah, with this wing damage and try to hang on to as many places as he can. But now Igor has been released into P2 by his teammate and can start battling for the race lead here with Toby. Of course, he needs to build a 5-second gap over Luca if he wants to win this race, so it's a tough ask for Igor to bring home this race win. And Shadow with a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. Casanova in as well. Did Casanova get a penalty as well? No, Casanova didn't have one. But Casanova... Why is he pitting then? Does he have wing damage? Yellow flags in Sector 1. Curio! So the spin at turn 1. Casanova... Oh, he's serving a drive-through! So Casanova did indeed get a drive-through and pitted immediately. He's serving the drive-through. Shadow going for a wing change. Okay, interesting. Yeah, and there we go. Luca moving past Toby there, as Toby's already been passed by 3 cars now. Ilat moved past him as well. And Igor, having taken the race lead, only 1 second ahead of Luca. 1.2 seconds in fact by now. Complete chaos there on the restart. Casanova, Shadow, Donique and Ragnar all having to make pit stops or drive-throughs. And the fight for the race win is on now. Igor needs to build a 5-second gap to Toby if he wants to win this race. And not Toby, Luca. Yeah, Toby and Izzat with penalties as well. Same goes for Martin and Alfie. I think they had both had 3 seconds, didn't they? Yeah. Shadow still has to serve that drive-through, so he's gonna drop down to the last position in a bit here once he serves the penalty. Igor is comfortably able to keep that 1 second gap. He has way more ERS than Luca. But the question is, can he build a 5-second gap in only 6 laps here? Does he have enough time left? Because Peace on the soft as well is, I would say, a factor in this 500 race win still. No penalties for him. The first driver on the softs. If those softs can keep a good pace all the way until the end, he might be able to overtake Luca and stay within the penalty range of Igor. Casanova back in the pit lane. Same goes for Shadow. Casanova getting a new wing and new tires. Shadow serving his drive-through penalty. They're gonna drop down to 13th and 14th. Shadow coming out in 13th, Casanova in 14th. Toby defending from Peace here. Trying to hang on to as many places as he can, but Peace should be able to go past the NLR driver and take 4th position in this race. But I'd say Toby's strategy actually working pretty well. He stayed out of all the chaos. He's now of course going to keep getting overtaken like it's nothing, because he has absolutely no chance against these fresh tires. But with him being in P1, yeah, he was able to stay ahead of all of that drama we saw on the restart with Ragnar having the spin and causing a bit of a pile-up, causing many pit stops, and yeah, I mean, you can see the gap after Kirio. Izzat now moving past Luca, taking 2nd place in this race. But of course for Luca this doesn't really matter. He knows that Izzat has a penalty. He knows he will get it back without having to re-overtake him. He is completely fine, I would say, with that position loss. Aaron moving past Roy for 9th place. Casanova moving past Shadow for 13th. Luca just has to hang on to Izzat's DRS here and he will get the position back. And of course he doesn't want to risk a battle. Kirio's now crashed! And that's another safety car! A virtual safety car. Full safety car now. Full safety car has been called out. It says virtual, but you see a safety car coming out the pits there on the track map. If you look behind the McLaren here, there it is. Safety car has come out on track. It says virtual safety car, but I'm getting mixed signals. What is it? Virtual? Full? I see a full safety car on track, but it says virtual. On the top left. There we go. Now it says full course safety car. Kirio crashing out in the S section there, I think it was. We are down to 13 drivers in this race, sorry. And everybody has one more chance to make up places, maybe go for another pit stop. It's also invited Donique, Ragnar, Casanova and Shadow back into the fight after their incidents, their pit stops after the restart. We'll see what these guys go for. Igor with the penalty. I think for Igor it's definitely the right call to make a pit stop, get rid of that penalty and try and re-overtake some people at the end here. And indeed, Igor is going to pit. Izzard is staying out. Lucas coming in. Peace is staying out. Toby's coming in. Martin is coming in. Alfie, is he gonna come in? Yes, Aaron is gonna stay out. Vortinho is staying out. So yeah, Izzard now taking a lead. A relentless 1-2. Izzard followed by Peace. Then Aaron in third. Voy in fourth. Luca gonna come out in fifth here with Igor serving the penalty. Toby into sixth. Igor in seventh. Martin eighth. Alfie. He's left to make his pit stop. He should come out in ninth though because Donique is miles behind. These guys are all on fresh tires. I'm not sure if they even have fresh tires than the one they're on right now, considering they were used in qualifying, so I'm not sure if there's a point in them pitting. I guess we'll see. Donique is coming in. Ragnar staying out. Alfie coming out in 9th place there, Ragnar of course moving into 10th. Yeah, Casanova and Vapor Shadow, same situation. I'm not sure if they have fresher tires than the one they're currently on. So I'm not sure if there's a point in them pitting, and I think both of them are staying out here. And they're gonna get past Donique as well, I think. Moving into 11th and 12th. So it should be a restart on lap 22, I think, end of lap 22, I think everybody will have caught up. And then we'll have lap 23, 24 and 25. As Izzard moves off track there to allow his teammate Peace to go through and take the lead of the race. So a bit of team play relentless though, of course, and no, Izzard has a penalty. They're both on old tires and they're never going to be able to hang on to this 1-2. Especially with Izzard's penalty. So it makes sense to allow Peace to go through on those softs and try and build a gap while Izzard defends for his life. And it's now Izzard is moving back past Peace. Never mind. Ignore what I just said. I thought they were going to try and have Izzard be a roadblock for Peace, but they've swapped places again. Izzard is back in the lead of the race. And once these guys at the back here have caught up, we will be underway. End of lap 22, I think. Safety car should be called in. And then that will be the final safety car. It will be a 3-lap sprint to the end. After 22 laps of build-up, it all comes down to those final 3 laps. And now we've got Igor coming back into the pits. Why? Igor? I'm baffled right now. A wing change for Igor! So why didn't he have wing damage? What happened to Igor? He's gonna drop down to the last position here. CPI having a nightmare of a race, it seems. 9th and 13th now. And they won't have much time to move back to the field. Igor coming out there in last position, of course. Not sure where he picked up that wing damage, if he went in the back of someone under safety car, if he picked up damage before the safety car. Aaron is now disconnected from the session at a terrible time. Right before the restart here, right before the end, and he's running in 3rd place. I'm gonna try and invite him back in, but I'm not sure if he will be able to get back in before the restart. So yeah, Aaron's AI is also going to cause problems for the cars behind him, as he will be quite slow on the restart and cause a gap to appear. So that will create a bit of a gap. Well, this will really help Relentless. I mean, Luca's going to be way behind them after the restart, with Aaron's AI having to do the restart here. And of course, they're not allowed to overtake him before the start-finish line, or they get a 5-second penalty. Safety car in this lap. The race will be restarted now. We'll have 3 laps of racing. And Izzard leading the way, going very slowly here. Slowing it back down to a crawl. A relentless 1-2. But how long can they hang on to it? How long will it take for those guys in the fresh softs to move through the field? There's a wing flying there. Someone has lost his wing. Ragnar's got a 5-second penalty for a collision with Casanova. So I guess Casanova went in the back of him. And it's Izzard restarting the race now. He's got a massive gap to his teammate Peace there. Aaron as well, of course, way behind him. He's already been passed by Void there. Although Void drops back behind him. It's causing absolute mayhem here on the restart. The day of Aaron. It's 4 wide down turn 1. Aaron now into the pits, and these guys have been released, but look at the gap Relentless have in the front. Toby trying to move past Void there into turn 1. And indeed he will get past him, moving up into P3. Luca trying to find a way around him. Void there with a bit of a slide, allowing Luca to have a look around the outside, but he isn't able to get around him here. Void still defending for that 4th place. Toby getting a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Not sure who he passed for the line, but yeah, there was complete chaos there. I can't even tell who he passed. But he passed someone before the line, it seems. Peace and Izzard still swapping place in the front. We'll keep an eye on this battle here as Casanova seems to be round. And lost his entire front ring there. Luca moving past Void now for what will be P4 in this race. Martin trying to slip through as well on the ERO driver. And Ragnar will be the next one who's going to try and get around him. And indeed he's already alongside and moving past into the braking zone here. Void going very deep there. Now Alfie's been invited in. Void being passed by everyone now. And there we go, Alfie's past him. Donique not far behind, trying to follow through as well. Meanwhile, Igor moving past Wafer, back up into P10. And now Donique goes for the move! And he's out of the race! Donique making contact with Void and sent into the wall. Igor managed to go through just about and now moving past Void as well. Shouldn't be a safety car, it's too late for that. Luca moving past Toby for P3. Now Igor trying to hang around the outside of Void, but he doesn't actually go for the move, throws instead for the switchback. Meanwhile, Toby trying to get back at Luca here, around the outside into turn 1, only same tires for them here. And Luca secures P3. Igor now moving past Void. Casanova entering the pits to get a new front wing. Void dropping down to the 9th position. And Relentless still running in 1-2 right now. And Luca is 1.6 behind. Does Luca have enough time to catch back up? Peace looking really good for the race win now. I mean, Izzard is going to drop back with the penalty, of course. So right now it's Peace followed by Luca, and then I think already it might even be Igor. It might even be Igor. Could be, I don't know. Right now it's with the penalties applied, it will be Peace, Luca, and then Izzard. Our current top 3. We'll have the penalty graphic open from here until the end to be able to keep an eye on that. But right now, Relentless are looking really good for this race win. Luca is nowhere near them. He's out of EAS as well. And these guys all in the DRS train here, they can't really overtake each other. They're all quite low here. Martin still has a good amount of EAS left actually. He might be able to have a go at Toby. But that seems to be about it. Luca's got absolutely nothing left. 0% EAS for him. Peace still leading as we head into the final lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. DRS now enabled for the final lap of the race. But Luca isn't within DRS range. So right now it's gonna be Peace winning ahead of Luca and then Izzard. A 1-3 for Relentless, which would be a great result. Fighting back against CPI in this title fight. Can barely call it that at this point, but we never know. Maybe they can fight back throughout the rest of the season. It's only been 2 rounds very early in the season so far. We are about to finish the 3rd round here. Martin having a little look at Toby, might send it up the inside here. Is he gonna try? No, he isn't. He wants to wait for a better opportunity. But Igor moving past Alfie for 7th. For Igor this doesn't really matter. He'll get all those places on penalties and he's not gonna overtake enough of them to get in the back of Luca. Meanwhile, Peace and Izzard still outside of the DRS of Luca. Luca is not able to close up. These guys are completely safe here. And Izzard might even really overtake his teammate here. And now he sticks behind. But, oh! There's been a crash. Martin and Toby, it seems, have crashed. And have dropped down to 7th and 9th there. Meanwhile, the Relentless car swapping places. Izzard moving past his teammate, which will be the on-track race win for Izzard now. But Peace will take it on penalties. And as we head around the final corner, it's a relentless 1-2 on track. It will be Peace winning the race here, ahead of Izzard. Oh, and Izzard into the wall and over the line as well. It's Peace winning ahead of Luca, then Izzard, then Igor, Alfie, Ragnar, Shadow. Oh wow, completely swapped there. Peace, Luca, Izzard, Igor, Shadow, Alfie, Ragnar, Martin, Void, Toby and Temp in the end there. Casanova will come home in 11th. I think he's trying to go for fast lap here, and then the AI of Aaron, after a disconnect, running in 3rd place, will come home in P12. Casanova now coming up to the line. Will he take the fast lap here? It's a 28.2. Indeed he will. 1 bonus point for Enlar at least. Right at the end. And there we go. That's been the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in the Esports division. A very chaotic race. Alfie gets the Driver of the Day award by the game. Plenty of turns in this race. So many plot twists. So many incidents as well. So I'm very much not looking forward to having to do the steward support after the race. Typing it out, of course. That was one hell of a race here around Saudi Arabia. And if this is anything to go by, I think if every race is like this, it will be an amazing season here until the end. At least from a spectator's point of view, I think some of the drivers might be quite frustrated with how their race has gone, of course. Quite a few incidents, but there we go, that's your full race results. Rundown, Peace finishing first, and of Luca and Izzard, Igor, Shadow, Alfie, Ragnar, Martin, Roy, and Toby, your top 10. And Casanova in 11th, Aaron in 12th, Donika still classified as 13th, and then the rest, Kirio, Cam, and Rumax having DNF'd and not finished this race. That has been the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in the Esports division in F1 Total. Yeah, the Esports division will be back next week for the 4th round around Brazil. Same time as always, 3 PM UK. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I hope we'll be seeing you again for that stream. Alternatively, in about just under 2 hours at 6:30 PM UK, there will be the Portuguese Grand Prix in Division 1. Or also the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Division 2 on Wednesday at 7:30 PM UK. I hope you're looking forward to those races as well. And I'll be seeing you on the next stream. Goodbye.